Is that a whisk in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Hello, dear viewers. So a while back, I asked you what you were interested in knowing about working people's historical clothes, and you were really interested in seeing some practical testing. So today, we have 19th century kitchen work clothes, and we are going to make the biggest mess we possibly can baking cake and bread.
Real messy.
Hi, if you don't already know me, I'm V. I like dressing up in historical clothes and proving that they are actually, in fact, clothes that you can do stuff in. And this is my dear friend, Goblin Mom Pesky, who actually knows stuff about baking.
I'm a marketing consultant most of the time, also a Twitch streamer. We're gonna drop information on where that stuff is in
all the links in the description box.
Yeah, but I've also been a hobby baker and occasionally a selling stuff baker. I'm very, very passionate about sourdough in particular, so be doing some of that today.
Yes,
yeah.
And you also actually know some things about the history of baking too, which is really cool because my knowledge of the history of food is zero. My knowledge of cooking in general is...
This is my special interest, so I will deep nerd as much as you want.
Today's experimental archaeology is sponsored by Thrive Market. Click the link in the description or go to thrivemarket.com/snappydragon for 40% off your first order and a free gift worth $50 when you join. We are both wearing 19th century style aprons and oversleeves, and it was really nice to be working with Pesky because I finally got to make something that's not just for my body type. I wanted to make something that's a little bit more normal human shaped rather than me who can just stick a square on my torso and call it an apron. This is the Kimberly kitchen apron pattern by dress historian Marna Davis. I will link that in the description as well. You asked me for something with tons of chest coverage. Do you feel like we managed it?
Yeah, that's a real challenge for me with aprons is they'll kind of taper up in the chest area, and then we've just got a lot of baking decorations across the bust. It's like covering everything. I feel like even if I do my bust of doom and knock something over, as happens sometimes, I'm not going to end up ruining my clothes.
I managed to put this bright teal bias binding on it, which was really fun.
My favorite color.
Yeah. It's got absolutely massive pockets. And this was not something I had to add. This was just part of the pattern. Full length, overlaps in the back. The style is based on an 1885 pattern. And there's also this little like sort of crossbar in between the straps to keep them from sliding off your shoulders. My apron is much simpler. I just have like a little trapezoid covering my front. That's got two long pieces of binding that turn into cross straps at the back. There's a sandwich waistband, and then there's a long sort of skirt section gathered to it. So if you have a very straight or very small figure, that might be the direction you want to go in. It's also really, really simple to pattern and sew. There was no pattern used for this. I will put a pattern diagram up on my Patreon. We are also both wearing oversleeves. So these cover from wrist all the way up to elbow. It's just a tube of fabric. There's a drawstring at the top. There's a cuff at the bottom. There's a super simple placket made by just turning the seam allowances inwards and stitching them down. And the cuff closes with one button. So these should, fingers crossed, keep us from getting flour on our sleeves.
Sometimes I refer to my forearms as the splash zone when I'm baking. If you're frying or something,
yes,
get oil on your clothes, and that won't just dirty your clothes.
That's going to be hard to get out.
Yeah.
I am wearing full sort of turn of the century from the skin out combinations, corset, petticoat, corset cover, everything. This is not Mrs. Crocombe. We do not have a full 19th century kitchen. We also don't have a full set of 19th century clothes for Pesky. So she is wearing all black modern clothes, which will show any stains.
Standard issue Goblin Mom stuff.
This is going to be a really good indication of both how 19th century work clothes are going to work over 19th century clothes and how much more useful they might be in a modern day sort of setting than the like skimpy, awkward, tiny modern day aprons you see a lot.
Which are real cute, but not real practical for my purpose.
Both of us are spoonies. I sprained a muscle in my neck in my sleep. Your wrists are acting up. So we're KT taped.
And let me introduce any fellow spoonies to a very helpful kitchen hack if you happen to have taped up hands like I do, and that is rubber gloves.
Not gonna hold up to bread dough.
Not gonna hold up to sourdough.
Not gonna hold up to flour.
Nope.
So if you have to tape your hands,
just
wear gloves. Thrive Market have very kindly sent us nearly all of the dry ingredients we're gonna need for this carrot cake. Look how pretty it is. And apparently this was packed by Megan with a little heart. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Megan.
Thrive Market is an online membership-based grocery store on a mission to make healthy living easy and affordable for everyone. They carry thousands of best-selling organic foods and natural products below traditional retail prices, And if you find a better price somewhere else, they'll match it. I saved $74.63 on this order, which is mostly baking ingredients, organic flour, baking soda, cane sugar, powdered sugar, all the spices, molasses, grapeseed oil, but they have an amazing selection of organic groceries and
organic raspberry fruit spread.
And wildflower honey. Green tea for you, I got Earl Grey for me, and I got English breakfast for both of us. Snacks.
Oh, that's such a cute
Like, I don't know if this happens to you, but I am always like, no, the dough is forbidden snacks, but I'm so hungry. So I got a snacks. Supplements, eco-friendly cleaning supplies, because we're making messes here. That's kind of the point. Beauty and personal care, organic kids products, wine, meat, and seafood, frozen veggies, and more. You can filter by diet and lifestyle, product types, and brands on their site. Keto, gluten-free, and vegan are obviously on there, but you can also filter for certified kosher or halal, and this huge list of ingredient needs and brand values. You can do either a monthly membership for $9.95 a month or a yearly one for $59.95, which works out to only $5 a month. Click the link in my description box or go to thrivemarket.com/snappydragon to get 40% off your first order and a free gift worth $50 when you join Thrive Market today.
Traditional carrot cakes have, of course, grated carrots, but I found that also adding like really rich carrot puree will enhance the carroty flavor.
That's one of the perks of having these aprons is if you catch stuff with your hip.
Which is,
yeah, do we have a stain? Yeah, we got a little bit of a stain.
They just need to be soft enough to puree. You can't really like overcook them. That's with our...
well, there's our first mess of the day.
Excellent. This is a mix of spelt, calamute wheat,
and this is
white wheat, and
the texture's totally different.
Yeah, so this is ground at home, so it's a different texture than like if you bought it store-bought.
Yeah, what do you grind with?
My Vitamix. This is the messy part. You gotta use your hands. Oh, you look so enthused. Some biologists and food scientists who have the belief that we may have co-evolved with sourdough cultures and that on our skin some of the relevant cultures are in there. So
no matter how clean your hands are, you're gonna have microbes that feed the sourdough?
Exactly.
Now I've gotta get all of this off my fingers.
So the real question is, are you gonna end up with carrot down your shirt?
Because that's a problem for me.
Snack!
And I'm hoping the apron prevents it. This apron is definitely catching some strays.
Oh yeah. So this has had a little while to autolyze now. It's done its business.
It is full of microbe farts.
This one isn't yet. This one is. This is a Levian. So I prepared this last night. It's a mix of starter and rye flour.
Super bubbly.
Super duper farty.
Yeah, do we want to... Ooh.
All the splorpiness. So that puffiness is
this
all
is super liquidy.
Happy little microbe fart men. We're going to introduce the two to one another so the microbes can start doing their business with the with the flour. Starter is a really complicated relationship between a bunch of wild yeast and lactobacilli and some other bacteria.
Relationship advice about microbes.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of like a little polycule because there's a whole bunch of different balanced things in there.
And they're all apparently men.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they're not. Does starter have gender? Discuss in the comments. Starter all over the oversleeve. It has done its job.
Get out of there, buddy. Stop sticking to the sides. No, I don't want to.
No, I like it in here.
I like it in this bowl.
So this is why you really want the apron.
It's also all over my glasses. Apron can't help with that. Let them get elongated, like kind of get a little floppy.
Do you have any idea what you sound like?
And then like slap them onto the board. Give them and now fold over. Yes. And then we can do that like 2 more times. And I'll give them. So now we just need to do that 3 more times. And then wait overnight, and then we have bread.
But you told me I was gonna get bread today.
This apron is so spacious that I've been hiding this under here all along. This is one that I started yesterday. It's behaved a little strangely, I think because it like got transported and stuff. It's gone flat. But that doesn't matter. It's got a whole bunch of little farts in it, which is really what we want to see. And then we're going to put a little bit of the bran that I sifted out earlier, just for texture.
Very historically accurate 19th century oven. No, it's 20th century, it's 1950s.
So do we want to do this with the food processor or by hand?
I choose violence. I'll just tell my physiotherapist, like, oh, I didn't need to do my exercises, I made cake.
For the sake of mess, we'll do this manually.
And for the sake of historical accuracy, because they did not have KitchenAids in the 19th century. Oh my goodness, we need to get this on camera.
I'm legitimately very excited about this oil.
This looks like some sort of haunted horror situation. We are not wimping out with the spices here. Like, look at this. So I cannot describe how amazing this smells. So fluffy.
That is what I like to see.
So much cake.
But I'm getting lower back pain at Captain Morgan a little bit, so it's gonna be very like...
We're gonna be pirates.
Yeah.
We're 19th century baking pirates now.
So I use sugar instead of flour because it makes a really nice little like caramelized crust.
Crunch.
It's delish.
And 4.
Okay.
And now we got a bit of a break.
We'll check those in half an hour.
You know, cakes in the oven. Break time, snack time. Let's eat the bread.
And eat the bread.
Because I am hungry.
Oh, that smells good. Here's the
It smells
crumb.
amazing.
Good crumb check.
It is really unusual for me to have wholemeal bread that I actually like.
This smells like good honey. I'm very picky about honey, but it's got that wildflower kind of... Can I do my rant about wheat?
Editing V here. Pesky's industrialization of wheat rant was like 12 minutes long, and I had to cut out a ton of fascinating stuff to fit it into this video. If you want the whole thing, it's on my Patreon, link in the description. On with the rant.
The seed itself is almost perfectly encapsulated little source of nutrition.
By seed, you're talking about like a wheat berry.
Yeah, like a wheat berry, yeah. And then on the inside, it's got the endosperm, which is almost all sugar. That germ, it's the bundle of kind of the nutrient life of the plant for it to get going. Historically, this was the program. People would go to the miller, bring home their stuff, maybe sift out the bran, which is this top. It can cut through gluten, make their bread, and it was a core nutrient part of their diet because
And it was actually more nutritious than we think of bread as being today.
with industrialization, they wanted to figure out how to, do this on a large scale, and part of that means expanding the shelf life. So they started separating out the bran and the germ, which is where, one, most of the nutrient is, but also all the stuff that goes bad, and you're just left with endosperm. It's like sugar. They'd run the wheat through, strip it of the bran and the germ, just grind up and spit out the endosperm, sell it back to people, and then they would eat it with the same regularity. You suddenly started having all of these so-called Western illnesses, right? You had, gout, diabetes, was a core part of their daily diet, and stripped it down to being basically sugar. The government looked at what was happening, mandated that they start adding nutrients back into the flour. Yeah, so where are they getting those nutrients from?
The bran that they already sifted out of it.
Which they had sold to pharmaceutical companies to be processed down into multivitamins. Industrialization changed the plant and also changed how we conceptualize the food. Bread used to be a very healthy part of a diet. Now it's not because of what we've done to it.
So what I'm hearing is I should have another piece of this.
Yeah, eat more. Closest it can be to essentially having like room temperature butter, the better it's gonna perform. So normally I do a solid quarter cup, but we're a little experimenting right now.
It's decently fluffy.
It is fluffy enough for us to cream cheese. Hello.
Oh, that one looks super pretty.
Hello, buddy.
Look at this.
Really love the semi-naked cakes,
Lingerie cakes.
lingerie, because it looks a little bit more formal than like a naked cake.
Well, if I ever have a lingerie dress tea party, I'll have you make us a lingerie cake.
So a piece of my cat has made it into
Oh
the
goodness.
cake.
I mean, that's just life. Heckin' tired because we've been baking all day, but we made a cake.
We made a cake. I think it's a little rustic, but I like rustic.
It's a cottagecore cake.
Yeah, it's a cottagecore cake. Woohoo!
It is amazing. I think it's the pureed carrots that did it. Does it meet your standards?
I am my
As
own
cakes go.
worst critic. And yes, this passes roster.
What do we think of the aprons and oversleeves?
I am a mess. The apron caught sort of the worst of it.
I'm slightly less worse off. You've got a nice, like, collection of stains.
Molasses, starter. I think that's some of our juice
the
from
pink
dinner.
frosting. You've
Pink
got
frosting.
You've got
Carrots. More molasses.
I mostly just
more
got carrot.
starter.
This is the part where we take our clothes off on screen, but it's incredibly boring because we're only taking off the aprons and oversleeves. But I want to see how much did or didn't get onto our clothes. I had a whole mess of carrot on the front of my apron, but like, there's nothing here. It's clean. I was wearing a white blouse. My blouse is pristine. You wore all black today, and there's just nothing there.
Yeah.
There's nothing on you, not even on your sleeves.
That's lint. Yeah, I'm very linty.
So I think we have successfully proven that 19th century cooking clothes, highly effective, possible to bake literally all day and not make a mess of yourself, regardless of whether you are wearing turn of the century clothes or all black t-shirt and leggings.
Goblin mom clothes.
So where can the good people find this recipe?
If you look up Hey Pesky on Instagram, Twitch, and Twitter, you're going to get cake recipes and also a lot of me talking snack and gobbling ways. But
There will also be some bonus content, some research, pattern and materials lists. I will put Pesky's history of wheat and history of bread in the 19th century rant on my Patreon in its entirety. So you should join at the link in the description. Also, thanks again to Thrive Market for both sponsoring and providing the ingredients for this delicious cake. Click the link in the description while you're there subscribing to my Patreon, or go to thrivemarket.com/snappydragon for 30% off your first order and a free gift for $50 when you join. Now we have a cake to eat and a kitchen to clean. So we're gonna go.
so many dishes.
So many dishes. This is not even the last of the dishes. Oh goodness.